How bad could it be, really? It's not going to be like last time. Oh, fuck it. We're doing it. Fuck it. We're doing it.
Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones is the worst thing ever made by a human. Except for the bagpipes.
Oh, for fuck's...
Why is it so bad, you ask? Well, it'll take a little while to explain because basically the answer involves every single thing in the film, except for Natalie Portman's midriff. And that lady. But what I can say for sure is that every one of you out there,
every commenter that requested I do this, you're going on a list. I will remember you.
at one point before watching this movie said to yourself, well, The Phantom Menace was awful, but maybe this one will be better.
The Phantom Menace was good though. Video coming, I mean it this time.
You attempted to rationalize it by telling yourself that at least this time there wasn't going to be a little kid.
So is the full criticism of The Phantom Menace that it just had a little kid? I've been reliably informed I missed the point when I said that was stupid. It's fine to have a kid in your movie, Mike. Shut up.
Obi-Wan was in it more.
Okay, Plinkett. Obi-Wan was in The Phantom Menace for about 25 minutes. He was in episode 2 for about 37 minutes. That's only like 12 minutes more. It's not that much of an improvement. And even if his argument was that Obi-Wan didn't do anything in episode 1, it's a stupid fucking point.
You've got to do better.
And so was Boba Fett.
Is it a joke? Is the comedic thing that they wear the same armor? Is it just that Plinkett's drunk? You decide.
And you think you might have even saw a stormtrooper.
Oh, guys, look, it's the same joke as literally 1 second ago in the same sentence. Peak comedy.
So hopes were high that Star Wars could be saved, and maybe we'd all just look back on The Phantom Menace as being that really bad one.
The Phantom Menace deserved better than your shit review destroying its reputation.
But what you didn't realize is how fucking wrong you were.
I'm not, and you can't argue it.
And you couldn't have possibly imagined that even with all the cool Star Wars-y stuff, that Attack of the Clones could actually be worse than The Phantom Menace.
Okay, I mean, it is, but not the way you mean it.
That could be the worst thing since bagpipes.
Oh, fuck off.
It was at that moment when you left the theater that you learned to never trust your own judgment again. To live the rest of your life plagued with doubt and mistrust of everything and everyone. You didn't realize that the nightmare of your own life had just begun.
If this was the nightmare times, what the hell are we living through now?
Well, don't worry, I'm here to help.
Oh, thank God.
I'm here to bring closure to everyone, so we can all move on.
Oh. I don't want to move on, though. Star Wars is great. Oh, fuck, maybe Andrew Tate was right.
Let's jump in, shall we?
I hate it when he does that.
Yeah, I bet you do, asshole. Number 1. Everything.
Given my extensive knowledge of everything Plinkett, I can almost guarantee you this segment will be entirely worthless.
Almost everything in this movie is wrong, so I didn't even know where to start.
You could try the beginning. I've heard that can help a bit. Just some friendly, creative advice.
The only way to really describe it was to imagine that someone has dumped out 5 separate puzzles into a pile on the floor, mixed them all up, and told you to put them all back together in 1 hour. Or they were gonna stuff you into an old fridge filled with flesh-eating cockroaches.
Why are you doing this to us?
59 minutes!
Even from his own analogy, he said all the pieces fit together into a cohesive picture. It's just that there isn't enough time to sort them all out. This is stupid on a lot of levels. Let's just move on.
You know, if you stand back and look at this movie as a whole, it just comes off to the viewer as some kind of assembly line production, devoid of any emotional involvement by anyone.
Alright, we're gonna jump into the fuck you Mikes real early then. Fuck you, Mike. These movies are filled with soul and creative vision. The CGI is bad. It's early PS2 at best. That doesn't diminish the quality of the actual story being told and it doesn't diminish the quality of the world building these scenes add to Star Wars. Fuck off with this assembly line shit. It's such a worthless thing to say.
DEB 290, do 1023.
A film that coldly exploits the works of craftsmen and artists in a sterile computer-controlled environment, resulting in a series of colorful, crisp images that are played in a sequence.
So it's a movie.
I do understand that big movies like this are basically a business.
What the fuck?
However, I would say that most movies, not all, but most movies come from some kind of creative spark somewhere.
Oh, don't say it.
With the Star Wars prequels, I'm just not sure why they were even made.
Seriously, this is the best one. There isn't a better takedown of these movies somewhere I'm missing. This is what you all have to offer me.
And action.
It's apparent that Lucas rushed out the scripts on a legal pad in one draft a few months before they started shooting without really thinking things through.
Personal attacks equal film bad.
And he didn't even seem to care about anything except for trying to shove in as many things as he could make into toys or video games as possible.
Many, including the late, great Billmond Bagface, will argue that these books are objectively without value because they sell toys.
In the first trilogy, until you got to the Ewoks, of course, all the toys seemed to be a byproduct of the movie.
Do you think he has any idea what he just said? Plinkett, all the toys are byproducts of the movies. Did you mean to say all the toys were natural byproducts of the movies? That's not what you said.
There is a charming simplicity to it all.
I really want you to stop talking.
Not everything sucks.
Yeah.
So do the prequels basically expose Lucas as being a shallow, emotionless businessman?
What the fuck? No! They're huge risks with a completely different tone and style to the original trilogy. The whole reason you're pissed is because he didn't play it safe and do the same thing again. The emotionless businessman makes episode 4. But again. Oh.
I'll let you decide.
Oh, okay, good. That's kind of you.
But the answer's yes.
Oh, man.
Number 2.
For everyone keeping track at home, yes, that was the entire section labeled everything. Let's recap, shall we? Everything is wrong. That's kind of nebulous. I'm sure we'll get more on that later. The movie is kind of like 5 mixed up puzzles. I don't know what that was supposed to mean, but I really don't think he thought about it for more than 10 seconds. And the movie is emotionless because it sold toys. Red Letter Media are widely sourced as some of the best critics on YouTube.
The audience is expected to accept too many things that we are and are not told.
Whoa, careful, Plinkett. That sounds an awful lot like an objective criticism.
So this movie, like the last one, still doesn't have a main character.
We're not seriously doing this again, are we?
Instead, now it's got 2.
I guess that's better than last time, but it's still not a criticism, though.
Anakin and Obi-Wan. And I'm still not sure which one we're supposed to relate to.
So here's the thing, Plinkett. They're humans. You can relate to both of them. And you can relate to the weird alien things with similar morals and emotional responses to humans. You can actually relate to anything you want if you stretch the word's definition to its most extreme. This is a really weird complaint in the same vein as the representation complaints that gave us... shit.
I would think people could relate more to Obi-Wan because he's basically a good guy who doesn't murder people.
Or you could relate to Anakin, who just watched his mom die in his arms because she was tortured to death by a collection of bipedal animals. Not murder, not people. Who are savage, backwards monsters that terrorize the local civilizations. Don't smite me, Susan. Nothing I said was even remotely objectionable.
But at the same time, he's also very distant because he's like a weird monk.
Like a Jedi?
Without any personality.
What?
Even people that loathe the prequels like Obi-Wan Generally, the criticism is more of him, please. No personality. Yeah, okay.
So take your pick, idiots. Doesn't really matter at this point, does it?
I have no fucking idea what that means. None. Tell me in the comments. I'm lost.
Anakin's no longer an 8-year-old.
Yeah. Prequels are bad. Yeah, I got it. Because people age? What the fuck?
And is basically a whole new character at this point because it's been so long since we've seen him.
It's almost like he went through an intense, rigid, religious training for a long period of time, and it affected who he was. Crazy.
And we barely knew Obi-Wan in the first place because he didn't do anything in the last movie.
No.
So they might as well just started the entire prequel saga here. I mean, why not?
Plinkett is about to make the most obnoxiously reductive statement about episode 1 I've ever heard, so instead, I'm gonna pause it. I hear this idea a lot. You could have had Obi-Wan and Anakin doing adventures and growing together and developing their relationship instead of the boring nothing that happened in episode 1. It's bordering on criticism, so let's talk about it. First, the events of episode 1 are vital to Darth Vader's rise. Anakin being a slave, with a serious emotional attachment to his mother and a lack of understanding and respect for the Jedi Code or the Jedi Order, is the catalyst for his eventual fall. Qui-Gon Jinn being the person to find him, break the rules of the Jedi Order for him, believe fully in him and his potential, and then dying, leaving him with Obi-Wan, who didn't believe in him and advocated for Qui-Gon to give up on him, is also essential to Anakin's character. These things inform his decisions later. They inform his frustration and irritation with Obi-Wan and the rest of the Jedi. It's really good character building from George Lucas, and the events of episode 1 outside the Jedi and Anakin plot set the stage for the Clone Wars and the fall of the Republic. The world building for all the different races, the galactic politics, the inane strife over irrelevant economic details and greed, and how Palpatine is using them to form his new empire are all established in episode 1. I don't want to get rid of it all. I think Mahler said if he could redo it, he would want a trilogy with episode 1 with some revisions following Anakin and Obi-Wan, and another prequel trilogy following the events of the Clone Wars to flesh everything out. If I was able to remake these movies, that's probably what I would do. But I think the movie does a good job with the time it has to deliver the relevant information and tell its story.
Qui-Gon died, and Anakin and Padme just kind of met each other.
That's his whole takeaway from episode 1. That's all that happened.
So then we're given 60 seconds in an elevator to establish that Obi-Wan and Anakin are friends.
No, this is sort of a subversion. Yeah, okay, I know, but hear me out. In these grand adventure stories, we expect the student and master to have a solid relationship of trust and loyalty. The scene in the elevator sets up that these two have been together for a long time now, and they've been through some intense encounters. So as the audience, we are supposed to go, oh, they're like student-master trope now, okay. But in the next scene, they are going to subvert that expectation with the actual relationship these two have. It's almost adversarial. Anakin questions Obi-Wan and the Jedi's authority openly in front of Padme's security force. He's arrogant and hard-headed and believes fully that he is capable of more than he's being allowed to do. And he acts out. It's subversion done correctly. These two are not friends. Obi-Wan views Anakin as his kid brother that he's been saddled with after Qui-Gon's death. Anakin says multiple times throughout the movie that he views Obi-Wan like a father, but that makes him the rebellious teenager with a huge ego and limited experience. It's a really good continuation of the relationship built in episode 1, and a twist on the master-student trope that works really well in context.
And please notice how this is not accomplished by how they act as friends.
Which is correct, they don't and shouldn't. That isn't the story being told.
But rather it's by them recounting things that happened in the past. Things we never see.
Wait. Is he gonna say something not retarded?
Something about falling into a nest of
I haven't felt
Gundark.
this tense since we fell into that nest of Gundarks.
Now this may seem trivial, but it establishes an important precedence in the way these films are written.
Okay, besides the fact that it isn't precedent, it really only happens with this relationship and it doesn't happen in the other two prequels. Besides this, I'm sure he's about to say something not stupid.
We don't see or feel characters or connections with each other. We have to be told about them.
Oh my god. He did it. That's an objective critique. I mean, it's not a very good one, but it didn't take us 6 fucking parts to get to it this time. Plinkett is right here. It would have been good for us to see, not hear, more of Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship. It's why most people want more movies or stories with these two. That doesn't mean what we have is bad, though. It just means it's surface level. We have to interpret the dialogue a little and intuit how we could have gotten to this point without seeing all the pieces that got us here. Luckily for us, when combined with the next scene, we have a very simple through line from then until now. And the throwaway line about the Gundarks is just flavor to establish they've been together through stressful and dangerous situations.
With Luke and Han Solo, we see their friendship grow.
I like the originals. I do. But he seriously fillets them in these reviews, doesn't he?
At first, they don't really like each other.
Okay. Let me stop you there, Plinkett. That's where we are with Anakin and Obi-Wan right now. It's also where we left off with them in episode 1. We are at the beginning of their relationship development. We missed a few years where Anakin was training, but this movie quickly establishes that little has changed, and that there is some level of animosity between these two. Luke and Han's relationship was developed over the course of 1 movie. We have 2 full movies left to work on this one, and to really flesh it out. No need to panic.
Then they save each other's asses a few times, they go through some rough patches together, and then they grow and change like real people.
Plinkett, Luke has the same weird monk personality in episode 6 that Obi-Wan does now until like the very end of that movie. And I've been reliably informed by you that it's not relatable, which I assume means it's not something a real person would do. Plus, we are in the second movie of 3, and Anakin is just starting his first real assignment as a Jedi. We have a long time left to develop these characters.
So when old Obi-Wan says,
And he was a good friend.
you get a sense that it was like a real friendship.
I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father.
I wish I'd known him.
He was the best star pilot in the galaxy. And a cunning warrior. And he was a good friend.
I linked the video to the clip down below. Go watch it, give it a like. It's fucking great. It works really well in context, and by the end of this trilogy, we absolutely get these characters to that point. It just hasn't happened yet.
But it never seems to have been.
It does.
Because Obi-Wan still seems irritated with this brat.
His abilities have made him, well, arrogant. And you will pay attention to my lead.
Why? What?
Do you notice how all of these clips clearly establish that this is not the height of their friendship, it's them clashing because they are so different and haven't figured out how to work together yet?
And this is the height of their friendship?
Yeah, I cheated again. No, Plinkett, you potato, it isn't.
All Anakin does is complain about Obi-Wan behind his back, too.
He's overly critical. He never listens. It's all Obi-Wan's fault. If Master Obi-Wan caught me doing this, he'd be very grumpy.
The boy is dangerous.
He's jealous.
And he was a good friend.
You would think at this point he would have figured it out. Your performance is embarrassing, Plinkett.
Do better.
So after we're told that Obi-Wan and Anakin are friends,
We are literally not told that.
based on all the events that happened that we didn't get to see, we're then expected to know a few things without being told them.
Oh, exciting. This has potential. Okay, Plinkett, what gaps are there in our knowledge? What did the films not tell us?
2 very integral.
He said integral. Both I and the transcript had a really hard time figuring out what the fuck he was trying to say.
2 very integral components of the film: intergalactic space politics and the Jedi.
You mean all the boring stuff from episode 1 that you didn't want in the movie? The politics you specifically ignored and bitched about for 7 straight parts last review. That's what we're missing in this one.
Now let's talk about what we do know.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
We know that the Jedi are an order of knights that live in a temple on Coruscant.
Please tell me that that isn't your entire depth of knowledge on the Jedi, Plinkett. That would be embarrassing.
Then the Galactic Senate is a big collection of representatives from thousands of systems that all meet in a big mushroom and vote on things.
You are gonna tell us more about these things, right?
A large, corrupt, and impotent United Nations in space.
A large, corrupt, and impotent United Nations is redundant 3 times.
I'll explain the impotence later.
That's what he said.
Hey!
No. Get back here. Explain yourself. What do you mean this is what we know? Do you know how much information you left out? It would literally take me hours to go through all of it. What do you mean this is all we know?
Hey, you can't do that. Only guys can do that. So it really is kind of amazing how inept and corrupt a space democracy is.
So it's like democracy then. That's why we have democracy. It is intentionally inept and slow.
It's quite shocking how they can't put something so big to good use.
I don't think Lincoln understands why we have democracies either. It's okay, most people don't, but I don't know if this is supposed to be a criticism or a joke setup. It's just kind of there.
I guess size really doesn't matter.
Zing, I guess. Don't sacrifice quality for a bad joke. That's why no one likes CinemaSins.
But this topic is a little too tight right now. I'll get deeper into that later. I'll get deeper into that later.
No, I've actually been waiting for you to call.
Oh.
It's just so funny. I'm dying over here.
So here's a couple things that no one understands at all.
First, I don't trust you to make that judgment. Your critical thinking skills are on vacation. Second, that's it for the things we know, by the way. The Jedi are knights that live on a planet, and the Republic is like the UN. That's all the information we have from 4 movies. Nothing else to see here. We pretty much wrapped it all up. You can jump into the movie at the elevator scene in episode 2 now. You won't have missed any context for anything. Fuck, this video is stupid.
Apparently anyone can replace a senator, pose as a senator, and propose sweeping legislation in place of a senator. Even a cartoon rabbit that sounds like a retard.
I don't know if Plinkett's visuals are supposed to imply that Padme's body double is supposed to be posing as a senator. Her job is to protect Padme from potential assassination attempts by acting as a decoy. But Jar Jar is acting in an official position as a representative of Naboo.
It will be your responsibility to take my place in the Senate. Representative Binks, I know I can count on you.
He's absolutely allowed to do this. Just because people talk funny doesn't mean they can't be politicians. Sometimes we even elect them president.
Apparently Jar Jar did it all on his own without consulting anyone after being obviously guilted into it.
If only Senator Amidala were here.
You mean besides talking to the literal Chancellor of the Republic and longtime friend of his from Naboo? And, guilted into it? That's a weird way to describe it. It was suggested to him, and it was emotionally manipulative, sure, but everything he knows about the situation in Padme would naturally lead him to this conclusion anyway. Is there a problem here, or is it just that Jar Jar talks funny and looks like a rabbit? Just as an aside, adding laugh tracks to a serious, intense conversation where 2 people are manipulating someone significantly less competent to them doesn't make it stupid or funny. It's just a weird tonal clash that I don't understand.
Then all we know about the Sith is that they're bad guys. That's pretty much it.
It really isn't. What the hell are you talking about? We know next to nothing about the Sith during the Republic era. Aside from Palpatine, we don't know their goals, their motives, their moral alignments. We learn them as we go through these movies, but just to blanket say they're bad guys at this point is wild to me. Why is Dooku a bad guy? We really only know about 2 Sith, and we don't find out Dooku is a Sith until way later. What is your benchmark for them being the bad guys? Is it just because they oppose the Jedi? The Jedi are not the good guys. They are deliberately not supposed to be purely good. Episode 5 and 6 are all about how the Jedi are trying to be good, but that they are wrong. Luke doesn't kill Vader because they are wrong. The conflict in this film, and the prequels in general, is pretty gray. It's a lengthy and difficult process to establish right and wrong in the prequels, and you are not prepared to have that conversation.
Are they all ex-Jedis?
Great question, Plinkett. Why would there even be ex-Jedis if the Jedi are the good guys?
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force.
So what is this prophecy about?
He just said. He just said it. It says there will be a person who brings balance to the Force, a chosen one.
What does it say?
The specifics matter, I guess, but what we really need is what the Jedi believe it says, which is what Mace just provided to us.
Who wrote it?
Why does that matter at all?
When?
Don't get me wrong, I'm all for fleshing this stuff out, but surely you see how irrelevant this is in the context of these movies, right?
What does bringing balance to the Force mean exactly?
That's literally the plot of these 6 movies. That's what they set out to show you. It means to destroy the Sith who are corrupting the Force, which Anakin does, which fulfills the prophecy.
I don't believe this.
I literally have no idea why he threw this clip in. It doesn't make any sense in the context of his questions. You don't believe what, Plinkett?
You see, this is when a fish out of water main character comes in handy.
You mean like Anakin? Who was just a slave on a planet and now he's undergoing intense training surrounded by ornery monks that he barely understands? He just happened to be Force sensitive and got found by chance by a Jedi. And now he has to navigate this entire galaxy of politics and wizards and assassins at the age of 17 alone. That kind of fish out of water?
All those people know this stuff, so they don't talk about it.
You literally just showed the clip of them talking about it.
But if you throw in a quick scene where a character called a protagonist has it explained to him, then it's explained to the audience as well.
You are such a genius, Plinkett. Why didn't anyone else think of that? If you're lost right now in the audience and wondering why we're talking about a fish out of water protagonist and the Jedi prophecy, that's actually probably the correct response to what just happened. I have no idea why this was brought up. The prophecy is mentioned once in this movie in the context that Mace and Yoda are telling Obi-Wan to be mindful that Anakin may be the chosen one from the prophecy. That's it. Plinkett never mentioned this in his video, and I have no idea why throwing fucking Marty McFly into this movie would make anything any of the characters talk about or set up make any more sense. I have no idea what information we need that we don't have from these films.
Aeons ago, our ancestors created our great frontier.
You see, there are very few scenes like this in the prequels. Scene where somebody explains what's going on.
You're a Jedi Knight, aren't you?
What makes you think that?
I saw your laser sword. Only Jedis carry that kind of weapon.
Track down this bounty hunter, you must, Obi-Wan.
Most importantly, find out who he's working for.
What about Senator Amidala? She will still need protecting.
Handle that. Your Padawan will.
You're gonna need me on this one, Master.
Oh, I agree. However, it may turn out just to be a wild panther chase.
Master, I've disappointed you. I haven't been very appreciative of your training. I've been arrogant, and I apologize. I've just been so frustrated with the Council.
I understand he said very few, which basically means whatever the fuck he wants it to mean, but you guys understand the point I'm trying to make, right?
Like scenes like this.
For eons, all creatures have dreamt of being starfighters.
Hey, wait a minute, that thing looks familiar. Hey, how did that get in this movie? How was it in there? What's going on? Hey, do those guys have PKE meters? Am I going insane? My brain is collapsing in on itself. Okay, back to the review.
Maybe it's supposed to be funny, but I actually have no fucking idea what just happened.
Or like a speech like this, where some guy tells us what the fuck's happening.
Star League justice put down your Zerian cult.
Oh, this is the same point as the one I just disproved 10 seconds ago, but with a clip of a speech that doesn't explain anything. Maybe it does in context, but here it actually just sounds like gibberish to me. Maybe it's meta-irony.
They tell us who the bad guys are. We see the bad guys do something bad, so we don't like them.
What if a story doesn't have a clear good and bad guy? What if both sides have valid reasons for believing what they do, and there's an interesting conflict born out of two competing sets of ideals? I guess that means it's bad?
We get a lot of information so that we know what's happening.
Okay, I've been holding off on saying this explicitly, but the movie gives you everything you need to know to follow along with exactly what is happening. They aren't simple things, and you can get lost, but through the power of pausing, rewinding, rewatching, You can't actually figure it out all on your own.
See, the audience needs to know who we care about.
Oh no, Plinkett. No, the movie should never tell me who I'm supposed to care about. I should be able to figure that out all on my own. I really don't need a moral guide from a fucking Hollywood production. Holy shit. That's a level of brain-off consumed product I don't think I've ever even seen before.
And we also need to know who our enemies are, and more importantly, why.
You really don't. It's okay to leave it mysterious or ambiguous. Sometimes that's preferable, actually.
If you don't tell us why they're our enemies and we don't know why, then we don't care.
I love subjective arguments. They're so easy. Watch. Listen, okay? I care. Plinkett. Boom. Counter. Get dabbed on. Get better at your fucking job. Holy shit.
Do better.
Oh, I don't think you should be seeing this.
Same as last time, I'm just gonna leave the skits in. They're part of the review. I don't really have anything to say about them. I'll put a timestamp so you can skip past if you don't give a shit about them.
Sorry about all this. I'm taping over some of my old VHS tapes, so there might be some glitches in this review. How do I turn this off? Hey, how's it going? How you doing? Email me if you know how to turn this off. Wake up. Post a comment on this web zone if you know how to turn this off. Hey, listen. I was thinking maybe you and I could have a cup of coffee.
Mister, I haven't drank anything in 3 days. I just need some water, please.
I was thinking more coffee, have a nice chat. We can talk about this.
I'll have some coffee. Untie me.
Where do you want me to untie you?
So I can drink the coffee.
Oh, I got this.
Coffee.
I understand.
I can't keep it by myself.
Number 3, the plot. So with all these complex elements left totally unexplained...
What the actual fuck? What complex elements? Do you think you established something as being unexplained in the last section? You did not. You can't just say, we need to know why the bad guys are bad, and then say the movie has complex, unexplained plot elements. The premise is wrong, and even if it was correct, we know why Palpatine is doing what he's doing. To take over the fucking galaxy under a fascistic empire. This video forgot to take its Ritalin, holy fuck.
George starts throwing the plot at us, which is basically the exact same plot as the last film. Palpatine is creating a crisis to get something that he wants.
Really? Hey guys, turns out episode 5 has the exact same plot as episode 4. The Empire is hunting rebels. Okay, come on over here, come on, over here. Do you have any idea how fucking stupid and reductive what you just said was? Do you have any earthly idea how useless that sentence is? Can you please cease vomiting your verbal spaghetti into my ears? I can feel myself developing brain tumors. Cease.
And again, nothing makes sense.
Oh, I'm sure it doesn't. To you.
It starts with an explosion.
Which makes perfect sense.
Kablooms! Because, movies gotta start with an explosion, or something that gets the plot going.
You guys know he just described all inciting incidents. That sentence, translated from alcohol to English, says, movies have to start with an explosion or anything. I don't even know if it's a criticism. Is having the initial scene be an assassination attempt a flaw? That doesn't pass the smell test. Pretty sure your movie can start however, and if it's consistent and well executed, you can end up with a good movie.
I guess I was wrong. There was no danger at all.
Guess you spoke too soon.
Ha! Look, he pointed out irony. Comedy.
I failed you, Senator.
How did you fail her?
Are you serious? She died. She was supposed to act as Padme's decoy, and she can no longer perform that duty. She can no longer perform any duty. She probably wanted to keep living and keep helping Padme, and she feels like getting killed here will impede her ability to do that, making her feel as though she failed. That's a crazy idea. I'm sure that's not something many people have said or done in similar circumstances throughout real history at all.
Isn't that exactly what you were supposed to do as a decoy?
She's not a fucking droid, Plinkett. She's more than just a fucking body double. Holy shit, dude.
I thought you took that explosion pretty well. Nice work. Fantastic death scene, too. And you managed not to get horribly burned at all.
Look at your screen right now. She's literally cooked. Charred. From upper torso to feet.
Wait, how did you die?
Probably from the fucking explosion a foot above her head.
Wait, Amidala's just a senator, right?
Yeah?
Why does she still have a decoy protecting her? Kabloom! 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 I thought that was just a thing for the queen.
Do you guys actually need me to explain this one, or can we all just agree that it's blisteringly stupid?
When Palpatine was a senator, did he have a decoy?
I don't know, Plinkett. Were there multiple assassination attempts on Palpatine while he was senator? Would Palpatine have need of a body double?
Was there like a similar looking old man decoy for Palpatine? Who would volunteer for such a position?
Yeah, guys, no one would die to protect the symbol of the planet and the person in charge of representing them to the Galactic Republic. We've never even heard of a fucking volunteer military before. Plinkett, you're a fucking lemon, man.
So Count Dooku was rallying star systems to align against the Republic. They say Dooku is just a political idealist.
He is a political idealist.
Shut up, I'm talking.
I think the Count Dooku was behind it.
Oh, hold on, little lady. You don't know what you're talking about.
You know, milady, Count Dooku was once a Jedi. He couldn't assassinate anyone. It's not in his character.
It's important to note that not only is Plinkett not making a clear criticism again, but that none of the people in this room except Palpatine know Dooku is a Sith. They just think he left the Jedi Order and wants his allies to leave the Republic. That's not even that radical. Certainly not evil. Padme's hunch is correct, but not obviously the answer.
So shut your mouth, little girl. You don't know what you're talking about. So just shut your face. But seriously, Yoda's glad you're okay.
Seeing you alive brings warm feelings to my heart.
I'll get back in the kitchen.
I know the video is old, but like, it wasn't even well done. It was just, haha, you're a woman. You could have at least been clever with it.
Also, let's not forget that nasty business with Darth Maul a couple years back.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything? A Sith enforcer for the Trade Federation to ensure their invasion was successful has something to do with an assassination attempt on Padme 10 years later, which everyone is assuming is happening because of an important vote the Senate is currently deliberating.
Business which apparently no one bothered to follow up on.
And how, pray tell, with your extensive knowledge of investigations, do you follow up on the Darth Maul business? No one ever talked to him, and Obi-Wan cut him in half and dropped him down a big hole. What is there to follow up on? The Trade Federation aren't gonna tell you anything, and Palpatine can assure they aren't locked up or even charged.
It's outrageous. But after 4 trials in the Supreme Court, Newt Gunray is still the Viceroy of the Trade Federation.
That trail is dead.
You know, come to think of it, if the Jedi had just sent 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 Jedis back with them to Naboo, they might have actually captured Darth Maul and figured out who he was working for.
I went over this in the last review. The movie explained why they didn't do that, and I don't feel like rehashing it here. Go watch the movie, Plinkett. It's well detailed why they don't want to send a bunch of Jedi to Naboo.
Can you imagine the look on his face when he opened the door and is all like, I'm a fucking badass, and then he's like, oh. How do you close these doors? Is it this button? Okay, there it goes. Oh god. Why am I even talking about this movie still?
No one knows, man. It's your video.
Someone help me.
He really needs it, actually. He might be in the middle of a stroke.
You know, they make a magic potion that makes you forget about the Phantom Menace when you drink it. It's called bleach.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Number 4, love and marriage.
Remember, guys, this is the one that proves George Lucas is an emotionless hack.
So let's just get right into this. It's been like 10 years since Anakin has seen Padme. And while he was a Jedi in training and she was active in politics, they never once bumped into each other.
That happens on Earth, which is one planet. Anakin is a peacekeeper in a republic that spans an entire galaxy. So what?
Maybe Anakin was spending too much time in Obi-Wan's outer rim.
Yes.
I mean in the outer rim with Obi-Wan.
It doesn't matter if this was a high school McQuaid Jesuit.
Oh boy, that didn't come out right.
That's what he said.
Hey, quiet. That ain't funny.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say anything.
I'm gonna get you two. So he knows he's gonna go talk to her now, and he's suddenly really excited. Who wouldn't be? What red-blooded male wouldn't want to dock his canoe in Natalie's port, man?
This doing anything for you?
Now, all joking aside, why aren't the Jedis allowed to love?
I know I say this a lot, but did you watch the movie?
Attachment is forbidden. Possession is forbidden. Compassion, which I would define as unconditional love, is central to a Jedi's life.
Anakin pretty clearly establishes that love isn't forbidden. Attachments are.
Because we're told they're not allowed to.
No, we aren't. Why are you like this?
But it's never really explained.
It's explained in excruciating detail.
Does anyone get like a creepy vibe from these movies?
I wouldn't go that far, Plinkett. Your videos just suck. They aren't really creepy.
I guess it's got something to do with like purging emotions to avoid being tempted by the dark side, right?
No, Plinkett, it's got nothing to do with purging your emotions. It's about rising above your emotional attachments so that you don't get tempted by despair and desperation if those things were threatened or harmed. It's like the whole plot of the third movie. They value emotions. They don't get rid of them like they're droids. When you have a superpower that allows you to manipulate reality to your whim based on your ability to channel and control your emotions, it's probably a good idea to practice emotional control. Otherwise, stuff happens. Bad stuff.
But Obi-Wan, you know, he smiles.
Plinkett, where the fuck are you going with this?
He laughs. He gets annoyed.
What? Well, you've lost him.
He enjoys a good sarcastic quip.
Oh, this is going to be easy.
Sometimes he gets really, really pissed off. But at the same time, he's also very distant, because he's like a weird monk without any personality.
Oh no, I see where he's going.
You will be expelled from the Jedi Order!
So love leads to the dark side, but getting fucking pissed doesn't?
Like, I'm actually at the point where it's hard for me to believe he even watched the movie. If you listened to a friend recount the plot, then made this video, that would at least explain it a little bit. Where? No, seriously, where? In any of the 9 mainline Star Wars movies, does it say that Jedi should never experience emotions? They aren't Vulcans, dickhead. A lot of them are humans.
Come to your senses!
I mean, the Jedis aren't supposed to be Vulcans, right?
Yeah, I did it again. Shut up. No, Plinkett, they aren't. Jedi are about control. They control their emotions. Like this. Or like this.
Never. I'll never turn to the dark side.
They use their emotions to guide them. They center themselves to keep them from going too far to any one extreme. This explanation from Yoda.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Explains why. The Jedi know that having strong emotional bonds with other people is one of the easiest ways to make a Jedi desperate for power, and we know that the dark side is the easy path to power, but that it corrupts you. A desperate Jedi won't care about the consequences. So to avoid the potential temptation, Jedi are taught why and how to give up on the idea of attachments before they can ever form. Unfortunately, Anakin, the most powerful among them, already had an incredibly intimate attachment, which is central to the plot of this movie. Watch the cascade of terrible things that happen as a result of Anakin's desperation to save his mother. The Jedi encourage compassion and care, but they do their best to depersonalize it and find comfort in the fact that the people they love and care about become one with the Force to avoid losing their way.
Even Vulcans took wives and had sex. So really, the only thing that made Obi-Wan different from like a normal person was that he didn't express any interest in chicks. But at the same time, he's also very distant, because he's like a weird monk without any personality.
So the superpowers and the laser sword, those also count as normal now.
I was beginning to wonder if you'd got my message.
Lack of sex can drive men crazy, you know.
Plinkett, the Jedi are allowed to have sex. I don't know what movie you watched. They never talk about sex in this one. So you must be referring to some third-party material, and basically all third-party material will tell you the Jedi can have sex. A few of them choose to abstain because they can't separate physical intimacy from emotional intimacy, but Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi gets fucking busy.
So when they find out that you got a high midichlorian count in your bloodstream, I guess your parents give you to the Jedi as a baby to be trained in this creepy cult-like environment.
Yeah, the Jedi aren't strictly good. They view this kind of training as necessary to ensure people who can use the Force do so safely, but there are some serious ethical questions that should be asked about what is happening. Parents probably would be more willing than not to give their kids to the Order, though, considering the status of the Jedi. It's probably a huge honor.
And you lose all your free will.
Actually, what the fuck are you on about? No.
I guess those parents don't have any emotional attachment to their children either.
How is it that these reviews got so fucking popular? Shut up, Mike.
You see, none of those kids made a personal commitment to follow this rigid lifestyle.
How do you know that? Did you read their diaries? Did you ask Yoda? Did you notice that we're never introduced to the Jedi's recruitment process? Probably deliberately.
You can't make those kind of decisions when you're 2.
If you had a baby that could crush a man's throat when he grows up using only his mind, and there was an organization dedicated to training and protecting kids like him that was recognized throughout the universe as the Guardians of Peace and Justice, one of, if not the most honored orders in the history of the universe, and they would raise and teach your child to control and harness that ability to become a superhero of the galaxy, how many people do you think would go, yeah, nah, I'll just let him grow up with a huge target on his back because he has fucking superpowers he can't control? Idiot.
So unless Yoda injected each Jedi with some kind of serum that makes you not interested in the opposite sex, you'd think the Jedi would have major problems when they all hit puberty.
Listening to Plinkett conflate sex and emotional attachment is so depressing. I know you're a boomer, but seriously, here's a dose of reality. You can fuck people you don't give a shit about. You shouldn't, but you can. And Jedi canonically do. No one said they can't have sex. Of course, puberty is going to be a difficult time for all Jedi. That's a major plotline for this movie. That's why they train them from such a young age, to prepare them for puberty and adulthood.
So then Amidala finally sees Anakin again, and for no reason, she's not allowed to love either.
Oh, holy shit.
We can't. It's just not possible.
What the fuck? She's just a senator. Why can't she fucking date a guy?
I'm a senator.
For Christ's sake.
He's not a guy. He's a Jedi Knight, you fucking tomato.
Parents don't love their kids.
I hate this video.
Men don't love women. Mace is unmarried. Palpatine don't got a wife. In fact, the only person in the galaxy who's married is Jimmy Smits.
My wife and I will take the girl.
Why is he in this movie? They should have just put Paul Blart Mall Cop in the movie.
Why?
I mean, why not? Look, I've been through a divorce too. And I had some pretty bad relationships. But really, this is getting kind of creepy, don't you think?
No.
They do decide to give in to their emotions, and ultimately they will suffer all the consequences of that.
He has no idea. He just played a clip that, in context, disproves the premise of most of the last 2 minutes of the video.
And you don't gotta be a sex therapist to figure out what this represents. Now you can see why people hate these fucking movies.
Oh, I can? Did I miss it? Fuck, I gotta go back to the video now. You son of a bitch. You lied to me.
'Cause the people in them act like weird space aliens and not people.
Memes aside, no. They act like people, struggling against their base urges and emotions to elevate themselves to something called a fucking Jedi. They are Jedi. Literally religious monks who train from early childhood to manage and control their emotions.
Now technically they are weird space aliens, but we can't relate to their fucking weird, sterile, sexless universe.
Did Plinkett think that Star Wars was supposed to be a teen porno and get mad when no one got naked? No one in this movie ever mentions sex. You made the shit up.
They seem as cold and lifeless and boring as the computer-generated world they're projected against.
Fuck off.
Simple, real, genuine moments like this.
Simple. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Real. Yep. Genuine. Nice. Yeah, no, man. Keep giving me more meaningless buzzwords. I totally follow you. Yeah, I replaced all the clips again, by the way. I'm not sorry.
Have been replaced by this.
I'll play it again.
Simple, real, genuine moments like this have been replaced by this.
You want to know what the worst part is? One of the reasons I'm watching this god-awful review is because it's referenced in Muller's TFA critique, and the EFAP crew generally recommend Red Letter Media's content. They've all said for years that these reviews destroy the prequels. Guys, this is exactly the same dumb bullshit that started EFAP and those channels. It's vapid. It's meaningless. It ignores the movie it criticizes and asserts things made up from random assumptions. If I copy-pasted just the text of what was said in this video and asked you to tell me if it was RLM that said it or someone like Brown Table, how the fuck could you tell the difference? These reviews suck.
Eventually, though, we are forced to endure the most bizarre, loveless, awkward, and forced romance in cinematic history. But I'll get deeper into that business later.
That's what he said!
Hey, cut it out!
How about you? Did that do anything for you?
Look, I said I'll talk about their love later. I just wanted to touch my briefs on this. Briefly touch on this. Till then, I leave you with the immortal words of Dr. Sigmund Freud. Sometimes a cigar is just a giant vagina in the desert that swallows men whole.
It's old. I get it. Maybe it was funnier back then. I don't know.
Send in the clones. So this movie's called Attack of the Clones, so I guess we should talk about that shit. And what can laughingly be called the plot.
Are you excited? I'm excited.
So Count Dooku has bugs make robots so that the Republic gets scared and then wants to make clones to fight the robots that the bugs made.
No, the clones were already being made. How did you fuck it up in the first sentence?
But the clones were already being made before the robots were being made by the bugs.
Oh, okay, never mind. You got it. We're good. Carry on.
If you're confused, don't be ashamed.
How could you possibly be confused?
Even the writer of the film doesn't understand it.
Yeah, just keep taking shots at George Lucas. That'll prove the film is bad.
So I guess Palpatine's got Dooku talking to evil star systems.
What makes you think they're evil? 'Cause they look like bugs? That's pretty fucking racist, Plinkett. Bug people can be good too.
Into joining them, including ones led by Count Chocula, Rosie the Robot, and another racist cartoon.
Okay, I know I'm making a joke out of the racism comments, but seriously, if you look at this alien on the right and think that's racist because it reflects a real cultural practice we have on Earth, that's a you problem. You are allowed to have depictions of space aliens with inspirations from real world cultures. At no point does this movie depict this alien as somehow less than human. It's literally just the fact that there is cultural iconography that makes it racist to this moron.
So let's talk about what makes no sense.
Thank you!
If the Galactic Republic is made up of 1,000 worlds, then why can't they scrounge up a volunteer army to defend them against the robots?
Not again. This is gonna be something that makes complete sense again. They could probably plink it. They don't need to, though, because Palpatine had an army built for them to conquer the galaxy for his empire.
For no reason, a fat racist cartoon.
Okay, no, actually, no. I want to know. How the fuck is Dexter Jetster racist? Tell me. Come on, I want to know.
Knows about Kamino.
Of course he's not going to tell me. Why would he tell me?
And the fact that they make clones there. But no one else seems to know about this planet or ever heard of it.
It's on the Outer Rim, outside of Republic space.
Camino, I'm not familiar with it. Is it in the Republic?
No, it's beyond the Outer Rim.
The Republic literally doesn't have a presence in the Outer Rim.
Republic doesn't exist out here.
What if Dexter is from somewhere in the Outer Rim that deals with Camino?
Even Yoda, who's been alive for 800 years.
Do you think maybe The leader of the Galactic Republic's peacekeepers might have focused his attention to the Galactic Republic, which Camino is not in.
No, it's beyond the Outer Rim.
So Obi-Wan finds the planet where the dart came from, and it belongs to a bounty hunter named Boba Fett who's hanging out there.
It is funny because he did the same joke just again. Remember, he did it in the last review too.
He's the guy who's trying to kill Padme.
No. He told Zam to kill Padme in a way that would lead the Jedi to him so they would find the army that Palpatine built and force the Republic to vote on it. At the same time that Palpatine's building an opposition droid army to cause a civil war between two easily disposable forces.
Padme is the chief senator opposed to the Military Creation Act. Drawn any connections yet?
Yeah.
Palpatine's behind it all.
How would anyone in this universe know that?
Then Obi-Wan sees all the clones and discovers that the order to make them was placed under suspicious circumstances. This was like 10 years ago, and the exact same time that Palpatine was elected Chancellor.
Okay.
Palpatine's behind it all.
I mean, it's true because we know that, but it's a ridiculous leap in logic for the Jedi.
So Obi-Wan sends him a message and tells him about the clones. But Mace Idiot still thinks they're looking for Padme's assassin.
They are.
Do you think these cloners are involved in the plot to assassinate Senator Amidala?
It's a totally reasonable question.
I think this discovery of the clone army is a little more important than who's trying to kill stupid Padme.
How did you come to that conclusion? Oh my god.
Palpatine's behind it all.
Do not assume anything, Obi-Wan.
Hey.
Clear your mind must be.
Hey,
Did the Council
idiot.
ever authorize the creation of a clone army?
No.
Only the Dark Lord of the Sith knows of our weakness.
You don't have to tell him about your diminished use of the Force. Just tell him that Obi-Wan found that clones are suspiciously being made already.
And then everyone asks, how did you not know about this? And then they have to reveal their diminished use of the Force. It's like, you almost get it, but you can't for some reason.
And if you think that a Sith is pulling strings in the Senate, just order blood tests done on everyone.
They don't think that, though. They don't come up with that idea until like the very end of the movie.
Do you believe what Count Dooku said about Sidious controlling the Senate? It doesn't feel right.
What do I mean by that? Well, in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, if they thought somebody was a shapeshifter, they cut open their hand and drip out some blood. And if it didn't change into the shapeshifter, then you were a real person. And it's been established that you can count midichlorians in someone's blood to see how much force they got in them.
So what if they test all the senators' blood and they all have a concentration of midichlorians that would signify them as potentially force sensitive? What if Palpatine has very few midichlorians? What if they get a false positive and accuse some poor nobody of being evil for no reason? The thing about loosely established rules is that we don't have a clear understanding of how they work. This might give you an idea, but it's also not super easy to pull off. For example, try to get a blood test done on every sitting member of Congress in the United States. Watch how quickly a law gets passed making it illegal to force a sitting Congress member to take a blood test.
They find a lot of midichlorians in Palpatine.
I'm sure there's something entertaining about this, but I really can't figure out what it is.
Bright lights, dumb city. You know, I could spend 10 hours talking about just how incredibly dumb this entire sequence is.
Oh, holy shit, maybe Plinkett and I will actually agree on something. Although it's not really the whole sequence, it's just kind of the beginning of it.
But I'm gonna try to do it in 9. So the plot is that someone's trying to kill Amidala for no reason.
No, not for no reason. Gunray wants her dead, we find that out later. And until she is, he won't join the Separatists. Which kind of, defeats the point, because the Trade Federation has the droid army. Dooku recognizes this as an opportunity to get the Jedi onto the trail of the clone army, so he tries to kill two birds with one stone. It's two separate, completely established reasons that it's happening.
And Anakin and Obi-Wan are assigned to protect her. So she doesn't sleep in an interior bedroom of this building with no window where it would be safer, but rather in a room where the blinds are half open and a city of 900 quadrillion people can see her, especially the robot that's there to kill her.
You're using her as bait.
They say they're doing this so she could be bait to catch the assassin.
You're using her as bait.
But she turns off any kind of camera surveillance so she could have her privacy.
R2 is literally right there, you egg.
I don't think she liked me watching her.
Is that more important than your life, you dumb bimbo?
Why would she think the assassination would happen tonight? Why would she not feel safe with two Jedi right outside her room, and R2 scanning the room periodically?
You're gonna at the very least aim the cameras at the windows, because that's the only way in. You see, surveillance cameras are only really useful for some kind of slow attack that you could run in and stop. They won't do any good if someone launched a missile at the building, or perhaps fired a purple space bazooka at her window. Gee, maybe you better rethink this whole bait thing, idiots.
I'm actually kind of impressed. Yeah, this plan is stupid. They get lucky that the assassin is intentionally using a method the Jedi can counter to lure them to Kamino. If the goal was just to kill Padme, she'd probably be dead. It's dumb. Good job, Plinkett. You're not completely useless.
In fact, this assassin character actually has a blaster rifle and seems like she's a pretty good shot. She could have just parked her speeder across the street and shot Padme through the window.
That sounds really fucking hard. And like something the Jedi would immediately recognize and react to.
She apparently knew where she was sleeping because she sent the robot there. Also, what makes them so sure that the assassin's gonna try and kill her tonight?
For fuck's sake, what makes you think they think that? They believe the assassin is trying to stop her from voting on the Military Creation Act. They have no idea it's Gunray and Dooku settling a personal grudge. They assume it will happen soon because the vote is happening soon. They use her as bait and they get a bite tonight. No one assumes it will happen tonight. They're preparing for if it does, which is their job, you fucking garden implement.
You see, the thing with assassins is, they strike when you least expect.
So you should always be expecting it, which is what they're doing. Because it's their job.
Hey, sorry about that. I had a movie on in the other room. I wanted to go turn it off.
The situation is more dangerous than the senator will admit.
Yeah, the situation is so dangerous, you're walking around in the middle of broad daylight.
At the Capitol building. Surrounded by Jedi.
When Padme is clearly visible through many open windows.
Jedi!
And you're the security chief? So instead they're waiting for the assassin to strike tonight. Like they read the script in advance.
It's actually a really bad scene, packed with obvious flaws. And this is the level of criticism you can muster.
But then a floating robot thing cuts a hole in the glass and releases deadly centipedes into the room. You know, if this robot probe was equipped with a blaster... Dum blammo. No more Amadama.
I mean, you already said this, but yeah, their plan isn't great. I'd assume, though, that if the droid did have a blaster, the Jedi would sense that instead of the bugs. They sense the imminent danger posed by the bugs, which the bounty hunters are using to lure the Jedi to Jango and then to Kamino.
So anyway, these bugs were given to this assassin by a guy named Boba Fett.
It's funny because he did the same joke again, but this time he did it again.
Who was also an assassin. Well, technically he's a bounty hunter, but I'm sure he could get the job done. So why exactly did an assassin hire another assassin?
To create a layer of separation between himself and the assassination attempt. This happens in real life all the time.
Why didn't he just do the job himself if they're his clients?
My client is getting impatient.
Because if he gets caught, he has to run from Jedi. And that is quite hard.
Everyone seems to know where Padme's room is anyway, and Boba Fett does have a jetpack that he could launch a rocket out of.
Plinkett, you already made this point twice. Yeah, it's lucky the assassins do it the way they do it. Otherwise, there's a good chance Padme would be dead. We agreed. Move on.
Anyway, so because R2-D2 didn't aim his scanners at the window, like the most likely place an attack would occur from, the deadly bugs get in the room.
R2 is there to scan the room, not the outside world. There are probably cops and security in charge of monitoring speeder traffic. The probe droid is small and can slip past defenses. This isn't the stupid part. The stupid part is the next part.
I sense it too.
Anakin senses this and runs in the room and kills him. Then Obi-Wan goes against his own advice.
Patience. Use the Force. Think.
And then recklessly throws himself out the window at the probe droid.
Yep. That's the stupid part. That's the real stupid part for like 10 reasons.
Now, a couple of things here he didn't know. A, he didn't know if he could catch the robot in time before falling to his death.
God fucking damn it. Even when I agree with your criticism, you somehow manage to make me have to defend the stupid fucking film. He probably knows full well he can catch it, and if he can't, he can force pull it to himself.
B, if the probe could even support his weight.
I mean, he probably does, actually. He deals with droids all the time.
C, that the probe was not also a small bomb that would have exploded when he grabbed it.
Oh, thank God. Yes, that's it. That's the big one. This droid should blow up, killing him. There's literally no reason for it not to, from his perspective. Jumping out the window is stupid.
This is another case of classic role reversal as well.
What?
Anakin really should have been the one that threw himself out the window after the probe droid.
Oh no, he missed the point entirely.
Obi-Wan would have made like an annoyed face and then went out after him in the Jetsons car.
Plinkett, the point of this scene is to show that despite acting older and wiser, Obi-Wan is actually just as foolhardy and impulsive as Anakin. He was thrust into the role of mentor before he was ready, and does things without thinking about them in front of his Padawan, which in turn leads to Anakin acting impulsively. Obi-Wan is trying to be the wise mentor like Qui-Gon, but he isn't yet, and he knows it. And the inner conflict comes out as annoyance towards Anakin, who is taking the wrong lessons from his example. This scene is stupid, mechanically, but thematically it's kind of on point.
Obi-Wan didn't really seem to have too much interest in this assignment anyway.
You weren't listening. He just wanted Anakin to recognize that his biases were affecting his judgment. He very much cares about Padme's well-being. They are friends.
Other than to provide basic protection.
We're here to protect you, Senator. Not to start an investigation.
Professional, calm, rational acting in front of his Padawan. Seizing an opportunity because he's still young and impulsive. That cut you just made pretty clearly lays out what the film is trying to tell you about Obi-Wan.
After getting his gun dart stuck in Anakin's nest, he wanted to just phone this one in.
No.
Are you guys sure that wasn't supposed to be Anakin jumping out the window?
Yes.
Did they make a mistake when filming the scene and then just left it?
No.
Wait, Amidala's head of security has no depth perception?
It's Star Wars. How do you know that thing isn't a cybernetic implant? Lots of security guards have battle scars and eye patches. What's your point?
No, I take it back. Obi-Wan, maybe you should start an investigation. Hey, wait, isn't she dead? Gosh, Padme, you're really burning through these decoys, aren't you?
I looked it up, and sure enough, those are two different people. You could at least pretend to research these, Mike.
Anyone want to be Padme's next decoy? Everyone's trying to kill her. Step right up.
We did this part already. He's just repeating himself at this point.
So Obi-Wan's flying around on this thing, and Anakin somehow knows how to find him.
Oh no, he forgot what a Jedi is again. That's unfortunate.
Even though by the time he gets to the speeder, Obi-Wan's probably 500 miles away.
On this thing, it's not traveling through hyperspace, it's a fucking droid. It kind of floats around. It's not particularly slow, but it's not darting through the city either. And all Anakin has to do is run down some stairs and out a door, and the speeders are right there. How does that translate to 500 miles away?
I guess the Force told him where to go.
Yeah, he's a Jedi, remember?
So that he could eventually become Darth Vader.
What?
What if this assassin had tricked the Jedi into chasing after the probe droid, like using it as bait? Then after they left, he just floated his car up to the window and shot Padme.
Did you guys catch that? This assassination is stupid. This is the fourth time we're going over it. Yeah, it's poorly thought out, contrived, and insanely lucky that it all works out this way. Did you get it? Are we good?
I guess when you rush off and chase after a probe droid without a moment's hesitation, you can make a pretty big mistake like that.
Patience. Use the Force.
It's like he's so close to getting it. He has all the pieces of the puzzle. He just has to put them together. But he's just going to throw a fit and say puzzles are gay.
Also, it's revealed in a bit that this assassin is a shapeshifter, which could very well be the most advantageous attribute that an assassin could possibly have. But instead he went with the whole bug through the window approach. You know, the classic.
Plinkett, you already pointed this out to complain about it. Zam didn't decide to use the bugs. Django did. He gives them to her and tells her to hurry the fuck up. It's still dumb, but this is not why.
This also leads me to wonder why someone who could disguise their face by changing it would need to wear a disguise.
There's no way you're that stupid. If her face transforms, and you can't get a good look at it, wouldn't that make it even harder to figure out who she is? You have the critical thinking skills of hot yogurt.
So anyway, they're assuming that this person driving the space car is an assassin.
Assuming. Plinkett, there's a massive problem that happens in the scene right before this. It's like an obvious one.
When really they could just be like a getaway driver or maybe like a regular person who's under some kind of mind control to commit the assassination.
Even if this person was completely innocent, which they know she isn't because they're Jedi, seriously, it's an important part of why they do what they do, they would still want to capture her to figure out who she's working for. Potentially who mind controlled her. She shot the droid carrying Obi-Wan flying directly to her. That's the major problem in this scene, by the way. Shoot the Jedi, you moron. His hands are occupied. He can't defend himself. And if he lets go, there's a pretty good chance he's gonna fall to his death. That's your stupid assassination droid that returns to you after performing a fucking assassination, whether it's being pursued or not. Why destroy it? Doesn't that just waste your own money and resources? This scene is fucking stupid.
But despite having almost no information at all, Anakin lands on top of the speeder and then attempts to murder her with his lightsaber.
You really need to watch the movie. He specifically stabs his lightsaber away from her to try to create an opening into the speeder and potentially disarm her. If he wanted to kill her, he would have stabbed here.
Now, I understand he really loves Padme, but come on, are you even 100% certain you landed on the right speeder?
Jedi. He's a Jedi.
So then they crash land and she runs inside of like a nightclub and Obi-Wan says,
"You went in there to hide, not to run."
How do you know that? Hey, I asked you a question. How do you know you ran in there to hide? Did you read the script too? Hey, what's that? What's that on the ground over there? Is that the script? Anyway, maybe the assassin went in there because he knows the owner and there's like a secret backdoor escape route. Or this was like a backup plan in case he got chased there. Maybe there's 10 Nausicaans waiting for the Jedi at the Domjot table.
Play, Domjot, human.
Obi-Wan makes a lot of assumptions, doesn't he? Maybe the Force told him.
I want to say this is a good criticism. I do. It's almost a good criticism, and I don't want to be petty and pedantic. But these are two Jedi. You can't really run from the Jedi on Coruscant. It makes sense that Zam is going in there to hide and possibly set up an ambush, which is what she's doing. It turns out she doesn't have friends or a crew or angry bodyguards to help her, which sucks for her, but it's not nonsensical for that to be the case, especially considering who Jango Fett is in this movie. He isn't from Coruscant. He doesn't spend a lot of time here. I imagine a lot of bounty hunters don't, because this is the capital of the Republic. They probably don't want to cross paths with Jedi ever, and this is probably the worst place in the galaxy to do their job.
But when Anakin tells him it's a shapeshifter, Obi-Wan knows to be extra careful.
In that case, be extra careful.
As if they were only being sort of careful before.
Okay, I know I just kind of did it, but this is a really pedantic point. The point Obi-Wan is making is if the target can change their face, they could be anyone inside this bar. So don't trust anyone, and be extra careful about where you are and where your blind spots are. That's a totally reasonable thing to say.
So they go in there and they look around, and then the assassin does something out of character.
We don't have nearly enough established character on Zam to know if anything she does is or is not out of character. She's been in the movie for about 40 seconds so far.
He attempts to kill one of the Jedi. This guy's mission was to kill Padme. If he's in a position to where he could sneak up on a Jedi, then why isn't he using this opportunity to escape? Especially when he's not sure where the other Jedi is.
Because escaping two Jedi on Coruscant is really fucking hard, as previously demonstrated.
These are like amateur mistakes.
What if Zam is an amateur? How would you know? She just tried to run, and Jedi literally dropped out of the fucking sky onto her speeder. She's probably scared shitless at this point.
So Obi-Wan brutally cuts his arm off in a scene that's supposed to mirror the original Star Wars Cantina scene, I guess.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Was that criticism? I'm actually confused, guys. What was the point of him saying that and then cutting to the blob?
Oh, hey, what's up? Listen, I can't really talk right now. I'm right in the middle of doing my new Star Wars review. We could talk. Oh my God! What's wrong with your face? So then Anakin acts like some kind of undercover thug cop.
Jedi business. Go back to your drinks.
Who hired you? Tell us.
Tell us now!
Undercover? He's literally wearing Jedi robes. He announces he's a Jedi. No one is undercover here. You did the same thing in the last series, too. He's actively portraying himself as a Jedi. Where did you get this stupid-ass idea from?
I thought Jedi were like peaceful guardians of the Republic, not Serpico. Well, I guess when the guy who's training you says this
weapon is your life.
Then you kind of have a distorted view of things.
He's a knight. Knights use a weapon. What do you mean a distorted view of things?
What was it that Yoda once said?
Force not make one great.
This weapon is your life.
But now a weapon is your whole life?
You understand, he's in the process of training Luke to kill Darth Vader right now, in this scene. He's training him to be an assassin, to use the Force to kill someone, right?
In fact, Yoda never even trained Luke with the lightsaber.
But Obi-Wan did, and he's a Jedi too.
Seemed like all the other stuff was more important.
Literally, no. Yoda focused on the Force, and Luke's skills controlling it and himself. Obi-Wan focused on the practical application of his skills in the moment.
I guess I just don't understand.
Oh, I know, but for some reason that didn't stop you.
This is a bunch of schlock.
How can you have these two statements back to back in a script?
I guess I just don't understand. This is a bunch of schlock.
So then the assassin with perfect assassination skills.
Perfect. He has the perfect assassination skills.
Takes out the other assassin when he should have just killed Amidala himself.
Why are you assuming that's his goal?
Hey guys, there's the bounty hunter responsible for everything. Yup, he's flying away in a jetpack, probably with a limited range.
That's all he needs in this situation. How are they gonna fly after him? Their speeder is on the other side of the bar. Should they just wish one into existence? They have nothing to chase him with.
Hey, remember when you guys were somehow able to chase after and locate one speeder among millions?
They literally never lost sight of it, except here, and even then Anakin did Jedi stuff and knew a path to cut it off before it got where it was going.
How about you run back to your speeder and chase after this guy now?
What if they tried that? We have a hard cut to the next day right after this scene. Maybe they tried and failed and got nowhere, and since there was nothing to show us of any interest, maybe they just moved on to the next part of the investigation. We don't know, it's not in the film. Don't assume information you don't have.
Sure, he's not gonna get too far in a rocket pack.
You see all those speeders and ships right behind him? He could disappear in seconds and be off the planet in the time it takes to get to their speeder. Zam couldn't because they were tracking and pursuing her. The Jedi can't really track and pursue Jango from this position.
I bet you're tired, though. I'd be tired, too. I get tired just walking out to my shed sometime.
This is the end of the review, but there's still a skit, and as is tradition, I'm keeping everything. Sorry you have to sit through this.
So how you doing? Those things?
I'm fine. Mister. I miss my baby.
Baby? Well, you know, it's been like 3 days now, right? I'm afraid your baby's with the angels.
If you would have killed me, you would have done it by now. Just let me go, please.
Kill you? I ain't gonna kill you. I brought you up here for a reason.
What? Oh, mister, please just let me go. I promise I won't tell the cops.
Oh. My pizza rolls is done. You want some pizza rolls?
No thanks.
Are you sure? They're really good pizza rolls. They're hot and pizza-y and tasty.
In fact, it's all I really eat. You should really try to have some pizza. Oh, fuck me. Get back here.
Fuck, this sucked. I had to watch this video at least 10 times to make this, and there's like one substantive thing in the whole video. It's 31 minutes long. How? Seriously, Plinkett.
You've got to do better.
I'll see you in the next one.